Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show that's built to take your stack of sources, cut through all the noise, and give you the essential insights you need to be informed fast. Today, our focus is really narrow, but it's an intense one. We are diving into the world of professional car care, specifically the contracts that underpin these specialized detailing businesses.
That's right.
We're looking at how one major supplier, Fireball USA, allegedly uses these mandatory training requirements not so much for education, but more as a guaranteed revenue stream.
It's a fascinating case study. This deep dive is all about their business model. And what the source material shows is a system that treats these training fees less like optional instruction and more like a mandatory tax.
A tax on your own business.
Exactly. A tax on successful, already working shop owners who, they rely on these products to function.
So our mission today is to really unpack the mechanics of this system. We're talking hidden contract requirements, some pretty coercive emails, and one in particular, the Time's Up email.
Right.
We want to show you exactly how the company can force even experienced, established detailers to pay up just to keep their business running.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Let's unpack the setup. How does a professional detailer, someone who's maybe been doing this for years, even get caught in this kind of loop?
Well, it starts pretty innocently.
Yeah.
A detailer will join the Fireball network, usually at their professional or expert tier.
And they're doing that just to get access to the product, right?
Exactly. They need to buy the company's specialized ceramic coatings. It's often like the core of what they sell to customers.
But there's a catch.
There's the administrative trap. The moment they sign that agreement, a hidden clock starts ticking.
Okay, tell us about this clause. What does the master installer agreement actually force them to do?
It's a very specific requirement, and it's buried in the text. It says to maintain your certified status, you must attend an official in-person training session.
In person? Where?
At their headquarters in Kansas City.
And the timeline for that is 1 year. Exactly 1 year. And that tight deadline, it just transforms the whole business partnership into a countdown. It's the legal foundation for all the pressure that comes later.
So if you don't pay for that class and go to Kansas City within 365 days, they have grounds to just, cut you off?
They have grounds to sever the business relationship. The clause is really designed for compliance and, for that recurring revenue, not so much for skills training.
So, okay, a detailer is busy, they're running their shop, ordering product, they're successful. And maybe they just forget about this one training requirement. What happens when that year is up?
This is where the whole thing shifts. It moves from just being, administrative fine print to really high pressure financial coercion.
How? What's the communication?
The company sends out a very targeted, very aggressive email sequence. Internally, they call it the Time's Up notification.
Time's up. Oh.
And the subject line, it's deliberately designed to provoke anxiety. Internal records confirm it's always the same. Time is up. Register for training today, or you'll miss your chance.
That subject line is definitely meant to make a busy business owner's heart skip a beat. So this is the point where the relationship really changes.
It's the pivot. Exactly. They're no longer just a vendor selling you product. Now, they're issuing a direct, coercive demand for payment for their academy. They're leveraging that agreement to force the tuition fee.
But what are the actual stakes? I mean, if a detailer says, you know what, I don't need this training, and just ignores the email, do they just lose a fancy title, or is the threat more existential?
The threat is existential, and the language in that email is designed to create panic. It says bluntly that Fireball USA will sever the business agreement.
Just like that?
Well, they give you a short grace period, maybe 30, 60, or 90 days to register and pay. But if you don't, you lose your certified status completely.
So the source material is pretty clear on this. It's not about checking your skills.
Not at all. It's about a mandatory payment to stay in their network and, critically, to keep your access to the supply chain.
It sounds like Fireball isn't just penalizing them. They're holding the shop's entire identity and its ability to function hostage. So once that agreement is severed, what are the specific things that a detailer loses?
This is really the core of it. They use what you could call legal and digital blacklisting tactics. And there are really 3 big consequences that create a direct threat to the shop's survival.
Okay, what's the first one?
First is media rights revocation. It's basically forced brand demolition. As soon as you're terminated, you can no longer legally use any Fireball logos, marketing materials, any of their promotional assets.
In practical terms, what does that mean for a shop owner?
It means you have to immediately scrub everything. Your signs on your storefront, your website, And this is the big one, your social media.
All the work they put into building a local presence.
Imagine years of digital marketing, building up local SEO and customer trust around that Fireball name. All of that digital capital is just gone instantly. You lose years of investment in your own local reputation.
Wow. That is a huge price to pay. So beyond reputation, what about just getting new customers in the door?
That's the second consequence, the lead generation blackout. See, when these detailers first joined, they were often promised access to free local leads from the main corporate website.
Right, a nice perk.
A huge perk. But the moment that agreement is severed, that service is cut off instantly.
So it's an immediate hit to their bottom line.
It's a direct financial penalty. The flow of new business just stops. So now the shop owner has to scramble and spend a ton on local advertising just to keep clients coming in.
And the third threat. You called it the inventory freeze. This sounds like the most dangerous one.
It is. This is the operational kill switch.
So for people listening who might not be in the detailing world, what does it mean to be cut off from these specific coatings? Can't they just, switch to a competitor?
That's the critical point. You'd think so, but high-end ceramic coatings aren't really interchangeable. They have their own proprietary chemistry, specific application methods, specific curing times. They're unique to the Fireball brand.
So what happens when they can't order more?
It's devastating. Yeah. First, they can't finish jobs that are already in progress for clients who were promised that specific coating.
So they're immediately at risk of breaching their current contracts.
Absolutely. But here's the even more disastrous part. They can't fulfill existing customer warranties.
Ah, I see.
These warranties can be for 5, 7, maybe even 10 years. And they almost always stipulate that any repair has to use the original proprietary product.
So if a customer comes back a year later for a warranty repair,
The shop owner is stuck. They can't buy the product. They're legally exposed. They have an angry client, and their reputation is on the line.
wait a minute though. If these are truly experienced detailers, couldn't they just decide, you know what, I'm switching brands, just take the hit and move on?
It's not that simple, because the pain of the inventory freeze is immediate and it's retrospective. It puts every single client they've already serviced under that Fireball warranty at risk.
I see. So the cost of a new training class.
Even if it's thousands of dollars, is tiny compared to the potential cost of legal action from a dozen clients whose warranties you suddenly can't honor. The company knows this. They leverage that threat to your operational stability.
Which really proves that the company's priority is getting their training revenue, not protecting the installer's business or their customers. The risk just all falls on the local shop owner.
100%.
Let's shift gears. Let's look at the justification. Fireball markets these classes as essential for, skill validation. Is that really the goal internally?
Well, this is what's so fascinating. The internal evidence just completely contradicts the public marketing. Former staff have reported that the main metric for a successful training session isn't skill growth or student satisfaction.
Let me guess. It's the money.
It's the enrollment fee revenue. That's the #1 metric.
That's so telling.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the investigation found that the most experienced detailers, I'm talking people with decades of paint correction experience, they face the exact same termination threat as a total beginner.
You can't just test out of it. Show them your portfolio.
Nope. There is no test out option. The system is it's designed for the training department's bottom line, plain and simple.
Okay, so the mandatory payment is clear, but the report also mentioned how they ensure people pay immediately. How do they capitalize on that panic?
Right. So this is where it moves from, contractual coercion to what looks a lot like active deception. They use classic FOMO, fear of missing out, and the internal logs suggest they actually lie about how many seats are available.
So they manufacture scarcity.
Exactly. They call it the waitlist deception.
Okay, walk me through it. A detailer is near their deadline. They call in. What happens?
The internal script tells employees to say things like, oh, the seats are filling fast, or there are only 2 or 3 weeks left before this class is full. They're trained to push for that immediate registration.
But in
reality, the investigation found internal records showing that these same classes were often half empty, even just a few weeks before the start date.
Wow.
So that waitlist deception is just a specific tactic to panic detailers into paying right now before their 1-year deadline runs out.
So the whole system, the clock, the panic email, the inventory freeze, the fake scarcity, it's all designed for one thing: to turn business partners into tuition payers. It's just a guaranteed cash flow stream for the corporation.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, this whole time's up strategy, it reveals a business model that is fundamentally unstable for the installer, for the small business owner.
Because their access to what they need to survive is always conditional.
It's conditional on these forced, predictable payments.
Yeah.
That master installer clause, it's not really about education. It's about securing guaranteed cash flow from the very partners who make them successful.
So the key takeaway here for you, the learner, is that when you're evaluating any kind of professional partnership, especially one that involves proprietary products, you have to look past the sales pitch.
You really do.
You have to deeply scrutinize that fine print. The mandatory fees, how often they recur, and most importantly, the penalties for not complying. You have to ask, what can they legally take away from me?
And that raises another huge question, this time for the end customer, the car owner. What happens to your 7-year warranty if the guy who did the work can't buy the product to fix it, just because he didn't pay a corporate training fee? The entire system seems designed to push all the financial and reputational risk onto the local shop.
That's the core tension, isn't it? If a corporate partner threatens to freeze your inventory, the materials you need to serve the clients you already have, do they actually value your business?
Right. Or do they just value your tuition checks?
It's something every small business owner really needs to think about before they sign an agreement that puts a hidden clock on their entire operation. Thanks for diving deep with us. We hope this has given you a shortcut to being well informed.